Greetings and welcome to the Department of Tangents podcast, a conversation with singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist Spencer Garland, the man behind the band PR Newman, plus new music from the Innocence Mission. If you listened to episode 69 with comedian and author Guy Branum, you heard a little taste of the new PR Newman album, Turn Out. If not, I hope you'll take a listen and come back to this conversation. There's a lot to talk about with this music. I got an advance of the album a month or so ago and wound up listening to it in the car over and over again for the next several days, which is the mark of a good album. Car listening is essential. Every time I listened, I heard something different. It starts out with an optimistic song that is nonetheless called Go to Hell. I enjoy that kind of contradiction, a friction between the sound and the lyrical content. I heard Apostrophe-Overnite Sensation era Frank Zappa in the next track, Here Come the Rangers, especially in regards to Zappa's wonderful use of the Ikettes as backup singers. I heard solo Frank Black in one song, the Kinks in the next, countrified Byrds in another. Garland has chops as a player and as a songwriter, and he has a sense of humor. That's a full toolkit. I caught up with Garland by phone just before he left for a short tour of Germany to talk about how PR Newman came about and the inspiration for the songs. Turn Out is the debut full-length album for the project, which is mostly Garland with some other players. Garland spent years in bands as a side guy playing guitar or organ, so this is him stepping out front, even though it's not under his real name. The name PR Newman comes from a comment someone made to him after seeing him play, calling him a kind of punk rock Randy Newman. There's a bit of a persona involved, and Garland reserves the right to wait for a different project until he releases something as Spencer Garland. After the conversation, stick around for Look Out From Your Window, a new track from the Innocence Mission's latest album, Sun on the Square. And now, Spencer Garland of PR Newman. I'm very much still a physical media guy, and I'm happy to have the thing in my hand. I don't know what exactly it is about having it. I can look at it now, and I can see, the giant cowboy puppet on the front.
Do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Have you? It's from the State Fair of Texas. It's in Dallas, it's Big Texas. It's a giant animatronic cowboy that welcomes you to the State Fair when you first walk in.
Ah, okay.
Sort of like a North Texas icon.
I'd like to think of him unofficially as PR Newman, the embodiment of PR Newman.
I think he looks like a PR Newman. Howdy doody, PR Newman.
What is PR Newman? Is it an alias? Is it a full-on band?
PR Newman is. So I've had many bands over the years where I collaborated with different people, obviously, but I wanted to kind of have a solo project, but I never wanted to use my personal name, so I was thinking, going through my memories of something I could use to inspire a moniker, and when I used to tour with an old band of mine, Berkshire Hounds, we used to play at the Basement in Asheville, and the owner, Kevin Grimes, or Grimy, he would, by the end of the night, he'd be having a little bit of fun and kicking them back maybe, and one time he came up to me and said, you're like a punk rock Randy Newman. Because in that band I played exclusively at Wurlitzer, but it was pretty righteous rock and roll. So I thought back and I thought, I'll shorten that because then I can kind of make it sound like a pretentious filmmaker author name, kind of like a P.T. Anderson or a J.R.R. Tolkien. So it's kind of it's a ridiculous, silly name that is supposed to come across serious until you figure out what it means. But it means punk rock, Randy Newman.
But why not record under your own name if people know you from these other bands?
Oh, man. I don't know. I guess just some sort of you hear your mom yell your name so many times. I don't know. You get sick of hearing your own name. Sometimes it's nice to work under a guy. So maybe eventually I'll do some corny singer-songwriter record, and then maybe I'll use my name. But not yet. I felt it needed a moniker to go with the erratic sounds.
Is that the character to PR Newman, the way Alice Cooper is somebody different than
he is in real.
Yeah, I definitely think it's an excuse for me to, or I use it as a guise to jump around genre and stylistically a lot, just because in the name itself, punk rock, Randy Newman, is pretty ridiculous juxtaposition of genres, because Randy Newman is so far from punk rock.
Well, it also indicates a sense of humor, I would think.
Sure, yeah, and I always want to leave that there too, because sometimes I get weird about if being too serious. I want to make sure that everyone knows the joke of life.
There are a lot of different sounds on the album. Is that by design? Do you enjoy shifting gears like that from one genre or one style to another?
Yeah, definitely. I guess I get bored, but I'm also I have so much fun listening. I don't know, I can't sit by whenever I'm listening to different genres, at home or at work, and I can't just appreciate it. I feel like I have to absorb it and figure out how they're doing it, and I kind of just figure out the genre by trying it myself.
And you play a lot of different instruments, so I'm assuming you're sort of absorbing the song on a lot of different levels as a songwriter, as a bass player, as a drummer, as a guitarist. Yeah,
definitely. I love, and a lot of the stuff I'm able to record at home too. So I love just being able to sit down and kind of dissect what makes a genre, and figure like, oh, this is kind of stylistically what they're doing on the bass, and I didn't realize this whole time subconsciously that's kind of what's lending to the vibe of, say, this Latin song or this country guitar line or stuff like that.
There are a lot of names in the press release, Stereolab and Funkadelic, that sort of reference different parts of different songs. And it's funny, I had a completely different group of names in mind that I thought may have been influences for different songs.
I could throw in a billion things from, I don't know if the press release said like Van Morrison or even, the Strokes from when I was a teenager.
It did say Steely Dan. That's the only one that really overlapped that I heard, and that might have been because of all the harmonized guitar solos. Yeah,
I think a lot that comes from Steely Dan and Thin Lizzy, but I feel like a lot of the styles that I absorb are directly from just friends that I play with and spend a lot of time with. So a lot of the guitar harmonies, I think, were influenced by a friend that I played with for years in Berkshire Hounds. He's kind of like the master of that. So it kind of just became part of my canon.
I hear a lot of Frank Zappa, especially on the back guitar or the backing vocals.
Yeah, I think you nailed that. Like the Eye on the Storm.
Yeah.
Montana kind of stuff. Yeah, I was definitely going for that. With a mix of Funkadelic and Frank Zappa.
Yes, there are some definite lines on there. In which song is it? I think it might be in Small Town, there's that line, what is it, Burning Love and Sexuality? Is that do I have the lyrics right for that?
It's Bernie. It's like Bernie Sanders.
Oh.
I'm just trying to sum up casually walk into a liberal conversation in Marfa, Texas. You might catch them talking about Bernie Sanders' love and sexuality, gender fluid. Yeah, that song is just supposed to kind of poke fun at just like a scene of the phenomenon of Marfa, Texas, and I don't know, living life through social media.
Is it a loving satire or not so much?
It's not hate-filled, but it's definitely teasing people to essentially not to go do. It's kind of a song about being present, and that's the overarching theme is not to live through social media, not to go do something just for the photo op, but to do it because you want to be there and be a part of it.
But that one line, that Bernie in love and sexuality, I can hear Frank Zappa singing that.
Oh, yeah, sometimes I do a little bit of that, like, deep throat, kind of joking, singing voice.
That nonsense syllable, that how that he would do on Like, honey, don't you want a man like me?
Yeah, exactly. That's the line I'm always trying to walk, is humorous, but not, I don't want to cross the line and become Ween or something and be just like I don't want to be a total joke. Keep it goofy, lighthearted.
Is that a danger? Where is that line? When does something become a novelty song versus just a funny song?
I think if you just sit down at the beginning of writing a song with the intention for it to be hilarious, or I don't know. I guess I'm trying to make people smile, but I'm not trying to make them like laugh out loud for minutes at a time. Just kind of tongue-in-cheek, smirk kind of humor, I guess, is what I'm going for. I'm not going for like piss up a rope kind of humor.
Do you have any non-musical influences as a songwriter? Any comedians or authors that might have impacted your sense of humor or your wordplay?
Oh, man. I'm sure indirectly a lot of this, because most of the way that I write lyrics is not even to the music. I keep a large stack of poems or musings or writings that I have just done over the years, and usually I'll just form a song and maybe have an idea about what it's about, but sometimes I'll just try and dig through the stack of poems that and see if any of them would fit rhythmically or vibe. And so I guess a lot of my writing comes from, I don't know, most of what I have time to read is classic literature stuff, so maybe a little bit of Steinbeck kind of humor. I don't know. Maybe not diction-wise, like word choice, but more topics that a lot of authors I read focus on, are just kind of like the joke of life or the beauty and the mundane.
And PR Newman started, do I have this right, because you wanted to get back to songwriting, or after being sort of a side person in other bands and not writing so much?
Yeah, I don't know if I ever stopped writing, but I had spent, pretty much since I was 13 or 14, I've had bands playing live at clubs and stuff in Dallas when I was younger, when I was a little kid, and then in Austin when I moved here. And I just felt a little bit like burnt out or frustrated as to why things weren't going the way I wanted them to. So when I quit that band, I just wanted to take the opportunity to see how other people captained their ship and, and take in some musical influences too, because I think I was just feeling a little bit frustrated, but also maybe a little bit stale. So it really paid off too, because the people I've played with musically and leadership wise have been really great, like Matt Vasquez and Adrian Quesada, just a lot of great players and good guys.
Do you feel comfortable being the front person after being a side person?
Definitely. I think it was rough at first, but I have to credit Matt Vasquez a lot for kicking me on stage and making me look up from my shoes, and making me feel like a rock star. He's really good at that.
Well, that's interesting, because a lot of these songs are so sort of outgoing and out there. I can't imagine them sung by somebody who would like to sort of stand on stage and look at their shoes while they're playing.
I just meant, I think I was shy, and I guess the frustration building up over years had knocked a little bit of confidence out of me. But I also started playing in this band pretty much at the same time while I had stopped drinking. So it was a kind of a raw beginning to playing sober and not having a little bit of a confidence boost from having a drink or two. So that was kind of rough at first, but I think now in the end it's actually turned out to be better than ever, because I can be more self-aware on stage and make changes I need to make in real time and be more present.
How long did that take? Was it a rough process, you said?
Yeah, it sucked at first. I'd say it probably took about 6 or 7 months. And then I did a whole tour like that, and that was when it finally kind of I felt alone on stage a lot of the time at the beginning, but I have to say now I don't even have to think about it anymore. At the beginning of playing sober, yeah. And I was doing it while I was playing with Matt, those guys are kind of party animals, so it kind of made me feel a little bit alone at first, but they were all really supportive, so, it was painful, but it was really glad that I did it.
Do you feel like a different person on stage?
Yeah, 100%. Because I'm able to, sometimes if anything small, or especially someone that's an overthinker, maybe like me, something small goes wrong or something gets screwed up, it's easy for me to get lost in my head on stage and maybe shut down a little bit, or like personality-wise. But I think that maybe having some drinks or something sometimes would suck me into those negative thought processes more, whereas now it's so much easier to shake because I don't really get lost in my head as much. Because I'm just, more aware on stage. And I'm just having a great time. I'm just generally a lot more of a positive person.
Is it hard to be more self-aware and at the same time lose your self-inhibition or your inhibitions on stage?
On paper, it sounds like it's really hard, but it, like everything, it takes a little bit of practice. But you don't get lost in abstract thought as much. You just realize, it's all just about making small changes and evolving as an artist, and not, every show is important, but it's also the most important thing is to have a good time and share positive energy with people that you're playing with and playing for.
And PR Newman began 3 years ago or so, right? You had an EP, your first project as PR Newman?
That was the recording and stuff. We didn't start playing live until almost 2 years ago, I guess. But I had started little bedroom records trying to write. So
is this album a result of songs you've been playing live for a while?
Yeah. Most of them we've been playing for about a year. We're still keeping in some of the songs from the record into our live set because we still play some of the stuff from the EP earlier. The Waiting Outside. Did you have to rearrange anything when you sat down to record? I mean, you've got a horn section and a fairly involved arrangements on some of these songs. Yeah, definitely. Some of them were I had to rearrange live because some of them we hadn't played until I recorded them. The ones that we were kind of already playing, the horns kind of just fit right in because they're maybe just playing pads or a little solo that can just be replaced by something on the guitar or vocally. Go to Hell is a pretty strong opening statement for an album. I mean, is that I haven't gotten a chance to digest the lyrics of that, but I like that it sounds so happy and upbeat for a song called Go to Hell. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a positive realization of a somewhat negative time, but I guess that's the purpose of having down or negative parts of your life. I think it's just to learn from and reflect, and so I think the song's positive energy is because of getting to become hopefully a better, more realized person just through reflecting on a negative time where I maybe wasn't being who I wanted to be, and it was hurting myself and others around me too. And that flows sort of naturally into Here Comes the Ranger. Again, I'm still sort of digesting the lyrics for both of those songs, but the one is about growing up, and the other one is about dealing with addictions. Is that correct? Yeah, I think in a way they're both about dealing with addiction, I guess specifically alcohol, but the first one is more about it, like a self-realization. The second one is kind of more a story of me just being like helplessly messed up in a situation that I shouldn't be, and kind of making a joke about it, just because that's kind of what you do sometimes. Bummed about something you did, is you have to make light of it. They fit together well. It seems like there's only a second or two in between the tracks. So there's this sort of "We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions" kind of feel to how they're sequenced. And I think they might even be in the same key, so your voice is in kind of the same place for both of them. Yeah, I was kind of stoked to achieve that too with Daniel McNeil, the guy that I did most of the record with him, and he helped me mix it. And he's really great. He's my age. He does front of house sound for White Denim on tour, and he's a really excellent engineer. And yeah, so we kind of came up with those transitions and like cool guitar feedback sounds together.
Are you someone who pays attention to song sequencing on albums?
Yeah, definitely. I'm like you. I'm still very much a physical copy, want to sit down with a record kind of guy. So I love when things go, back to back like that. I don't think it's necessary for every track, but I think it's cool if you're trying to keep an energy about the record, like the song flow.
So what inspired Right Here, Yeah, Yeah? I mean, that's the first two verses in that mention assassins and the assassinated, and then the third verse is about a first-person narrator and a relationship he's having.
Yeah, I guess I wrote that when I was 19, so almost 10 years ago, and I at the time was learning about different. I guess you can. Are you a serial killer if you just kill one person? I don't. Or just famous murderers. So first thought, or maybe just So you have obviously Lee Harvey Oswald, JFK, which you kind of grow up around in Dallas. You drive by the grassy knoll frequently on field trips and stuff like that. And then also, like, when I lived in New York just for a year, I was always really into the history of what happened where in the city and stuff. The other one's about, like, Mark David Chapman shooting John Lennon and just getting inside the head of essentially psycho killers. And then, at the end, the resolution is supposed to be, like, the whole song is supposed to be talking myself out of thinking, like, I'm not like Lee Harvey Oswald or Mark David Chapman. I'm not crazy. But then at the end, you kind of come back to reality, and your own mother is telling you that you're crazy, and she's pretty much lost you. I don't know where I think I just thought it was a funny third-person story. Maybe I was feeling a little bit crazy at the time, but mostly it was probably just fun for me to novelize history a little bit.
Well, that's another one that feels a bit more upbeat and soulful than the lyrical content might indicate as well. There's something maybe like Sly and the Family Stone or War-like about it.
Yeah, I don't know where that one came from. I think it originally stemmed from that song Woodstock by Van Morrison, but then it kind of it became like a funkadelic gospel. Yeah, I guess I can see War as in there. I don't know what that one is. It's weird. I was kind of going just for an R&B feel at first, but then it got weird.
Do you like?
And then I just wanted to add that like New Orleans Bourbon Street vibe with the clarinet and trumpet and trombone. Yeah,
that sort of starts to creep in somewhere, maybe after the second verse or so.
Yeah, I've always had a really strong affinity for second line music and for like old Dixieland and stuff like that. I don't know why. Maybe it's just proximity to New Orleans, or some of the earliest road trips I took out of high school when I was younger were to New Orleans, and I always just really loved the spirit of the music there.
Do you like contrasting the lyrical content with the musical content? Is that something you do purposefully?
I don't know if it's intentional, but I think I just have I don't write a lot of sad songs. It's not instinctual for me, at least not yet. But I think maybe I'm just okay at swallowing the negative or the sad or depressing or melancholy aspects of life, and being able to turn them around and think, well, these are sort of unavoidable and an essential part of what makes up a human life. So I don't look at them negatively. I guess they're negative things to most people, but to me, they're just facts. They're sort of neutral.
Do you aspire to write better sad songs at some point?
No, I don't know. I guess I'm not that sad of a person. Sometimes I get down, but what helps me is playing music and writing stuff like that. I still feel like it's cathartic, and I get out all the feelings I need to get out. I think I just mostly like to have fun. Sad music can be slow, or I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just not instinctual for me yet, and I don't know if it ever will be.
Would you ever want to brand yourself with a unified sound, and have people be able to say a PR Newman album sounds like this?
I thought about that, and to me, the unification of it is just the style of how the instruments are played. You know, because even if I touch punk rock or R&B or jazz or country, I still feel like it all has this, it's not perfect, you know, like I don't sound like a Nashville studio musician, and I don't sound like a soul musician when I play. It's close, but it still inherently can't escape the styles of, you know, I guess my musical roots when I was a kid, just playing punk or ska or whatever. But to me, I feel like that's always been like the glue that holds it together. But it's possible. I think the more I get to experiment and start cross-blending things, they won't seem as more genre-specific and separate. They might just all sound like a new, weird composition or compilation of different sounds.
Do you get labeled as Americana because you're from Austin and there are songs on the album, like Whatever Happened, and a few songs that are sort of more country tinged?
I think it just depends on what whoever's listening to it latches onto, whether that's what they like most about it or not. But no, because I just think I've been playing in the music world in Austin so long that I don't think anyone attributes me to being an Americana. I think maybe like country blues a little bit more, just because that is like a huge foundation of my playing. But no, I've never really been called Americana.
Do you play all the instruments on the album?
I play maybe 80% of them. I have my band playing on 4 or 5 of the tracks, and then I play drums on the other half and play bass on the other half and all the keys. And then I have my friend Mike St. Clair do all the horn arrangements. He was in like White Denim and Octaville River, and he's a really genius musician.
Mm-hmm.
So he played a lot of the horns, and my bass player actually played trumpet. He's a really great trumpet player too.
How many instruments do you play?
How many do I play?
Yeah.
Whenever people ask me that, I don't ever know how to answer, because I don't think I would pick up a gig on a banjo. But if I have a banjo part in mind for a song, I can sit down and figure it out and play it. So I would say proficiently I can play drums and guitar and bass and keys and harmonica.
Mm-hmm.
Probably that would be what I would confidently sit in on with someone else. But I screw around with lots of other stuff.
Like what, banjo, and what else would you say?
Banjo, mandolin, I don't know. I guess I've played some trumpet. That's probably it. I've been screwing around with this cello lately, but I'm really bad. But I've been trying to learn.
How much time do you have to devote to cello?
Not as much as I want, but someday when I have a little bit more time to sit around the house, that's my dream, because it's such a beautiful instrument.
Does playing so many instruments make it easier or harder when you put a band together, because you know exactly what you want every part to sound like?
I think it makes it easier. I'm pretty relaxed on, because the guys I play with, I trust so much that, I kind of, what's on the record is what's on the record. It's just sort of a guideline to follow, but I kind of let them do whatever they want and interpret it. If it's not working live, then they can do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess it does make directing the band a little bit faster and easier. I can speak the language of each instrument.
Mm-hmm. Does that help you as a songwriter, so you can imagine what the finished product will sound like from top to bottom?
I think so, but mostly I write through recording. I don't ever really know what anything's going to sound like until I try it in a million different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it just happens for the first time, but I would say more often than not, I kind of spend a lot of time tweaking each thing. Unless, that's only if I'm recording everything myself. If I sit down and record it with my band, I become a lot more hands-off. Like, whatever they play is great. I think I'm only harsh on what I'm playing. And I always think whatever they're playing is great.
I wanted to go back. I forgot one song I wanted to ask about in particular. Is there an actual guy behind Damn, I Miss That Guy?
Damn, I Miss That Guy. That song is, I don't know if there's liner notes with the CD you got. That song is a cover of a good friend, or a friend of mine in town, who, I kind of started this thing in my head a couple years ago where I want to cover, like, an unknown artist, usually a friend in town song for each, record I do. So, but I arrange it. That's about an old friend of his that, passed away from heroin overdose. But he also has a way of writing songs in kind of like a funny way about really sad or bummer topics.
Yeah, that opens up with, where we took the Amtrak. I think he might have smoked crack. That was the lines in the beginning of.
Yeah, and that song's by Willie McGee. He's an Austin native. He's a really great songwriter.
Where can people find out about his stuff? Can I direct people to a website or something?
I don't know a specific website, but Willie McGee, I think his outfit that he's playing with now is called the Willie McGee Band, but he's a really excellent guitar player and songwriter.
Now, you're about to head over to Germany. Have you ever played over there before?
No, not really. My girlfriend Sophie and I took a trip to Paris and to Germany in May, and that was my first time to Europe. That was right after I had signed with the Devil Duck guys. So while I was over there, they set up an in-store show at the record shop. So I did that on my vacation once, but no, this will be my first proper shows and tour of Europe, of Germany.
Are you going over with a full band or playing solo?
I'm going over solo. I think I'm going to go over solo one or two times, and then I'm going to try and bring over the full band in the spring. Considering
how full these arrangements are, how do you approach them as a solo player?
I definitely just pick out a handful of them that can be done, I think, respectively, that are more centered on just a vocal melody and a simple rhythm. And then I insert a lot of material I've just written over the years that fits that kind of concert better. So I probably am doing like 5 or 6 songs off the record, and then the rest will probably be like old or newer material that works better. Because some of the stuff that's really based on guitar licks and stuff doesn't work out as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not one to sit down with a bunch of looped effects and pedals and try and rebuild the song on stage, with one guitar.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really my style.
And what's next after you get home from the tour?
I'm doing another solo tour in Canada with a few other songwriters that my label set up. And then I'm doing a little bit of time on the road with this other band I play in, the Black Pumas.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm coming back and doing the first full band U.S. tour of PR Newman at the end of October.
Oh, good. Hopefully that I'm based in Boston, so hopefully you'll be coming up.
Oh, great.
I look forward to seeing you with the full band or solo if that's how you wind up coming up.
I think it's definitely going to be full band. Hopefully I make it that far north on the East Coast, but if not, then definitely next time.
And where can people find more information about the music?
Well, the website is prnewman.com, and the music's obviously on all the streaming services, and there's information, I don't know, I guess just Google if you want any. Oh yeah, I have an Instagram that I try to keep on top of. And
okay, well thanks for taking the time to speak with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's good to talk to you, and hopefully we can meet in Boston.
An arrow to the head isn't always a trend.
Thanks again to Spencer Garland for the conversation. If you want to find out more about his music, you can check out his website at prnewman.com or search for him on Facebook and Twitter. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please consider subscribing and or rating and reviewing on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts. And check out the blog at www.departmentoftangents.com for photos, videos, and other posts. We're getting close to Halloween, and I'll be doing the Department of Tangents Daily Horror Film Fest again for the 3rd October in a row, posting short horror films every day throughout the month. If you have an independent short horror film that you made or that you like, please feel free to send it to me to be featured in this year's fest. It can be creepy, funny, disconcerting, as long as it's horror in some fashion. Now, our featured track this week, Look Out From Your Window, by the Innocence Mission from their latest album, Sun on the Square. This is the band's 10th album over their near 30-year history. If you're new to the band, you might think this is an Irish import because of the pastoral sounds and the subjects and the lilt in singer Karen Paris's voice. The band actually started in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and when I went looking for an explanation for the accent, I found a show review from the LA Times back in 1991 written by Chris Willman, who also puzzled over its origin. His best guess, he wrote, was it was European and otherworldly. The music reminds me of that moment when winter is changing to spring, a time with a promise of warmth and growth when your bones still remember the cold and isolation. Look Out From Your Window starts with the narrator asking, "Look out from your window now, can you see me cheering for you up and down?" The story seems to follow two people looking at the same weather, the same snow, the same leaves, and the narrator wondering if they're seeing it the same way. The refrain is, "All I cannot say, I hope you know. All you cannot say, I hope I can hear." Take a listen for yourself and find out more about the band and the new album at theinnocencemission.com. This is Look Out From Your Window by The Innocence Mission.
Look out from your window now. Can you see me cheering for you up and down? They hover across the park and waving these leaves. I miss my far-flung hair. All I cannot say, I hope you know. All you cannot say, I hope I can hear. All I cannot say, I hope you know. All you cannot say, I hope I can hear. Can hear. Then hover across these mills, we'll see the same snow starting the same time. Not easy to find a friend in places within a different season. All you cannot say, I hope you know. All you cannot say, I hope I can hear. All I cannot say, I hope you know. All you cannot say, I hope I can hear. Can hear.
Neil Young.